So going into this election, I talked a lot about how I really felt like it was the most important election of our lifetime. And I would always say, folks, I realize we've always been saying that because we have. In every election that I ever recall, someone would say, this is the most important one of our lifetime. But I truly felt it more than ever when it was Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump because that was not a normal election cycle. And any media outlet out there that tried to spin it as though it was got it totally wrong because that was not a normal election cycle. We had Donald Trump coming back for a second term, asking for a rematch and asking to have a second shot at things after becoming a 34-time convicted felon, after trying to overturn an election that he knew he lost, after January 6th happening, after being found liable of sexual abuse and defaming the victim, after all of those things happened, he was coming back for a second go around. And a win for Donald Trump was going to be a win for a lot of misinformation. It was going to be a win for a lot of bigotry and a lot of racism. And it was going to be a win for the people on January 6th. And we saw that. We saw that once he got back in power, the first thing he did was pardon all those people, which empowered them and made them feel stronger than ever. And what it said to people coming up was, hey, we can do anything we want to do, and Donald Trump will give us a passport. As long as we do it in Donald Trump's name, he'll love us forever. And so I realized that a win for Donald Trump was going to be a win for all of those people. And that's why it truly felt like it was the most important one of our lifetime. And then as we get into Trump 2.0, we're beginning to see the effects of it already. And we're seeing these people validated. And anytime we try to stand up against this stuff and say we disagree with it, they tell us, well, this is what the American people voted for. They feel more empowered than ever. Mike Johnson said this is what people wanted to see happen. When you point out that, hey, they're completely dismantling the system, they're completely destroying everything that we ever had put in place, they're completely taking away all the safety nets, they're okay with that. They want to see that happen. And we can point out all day long that Elon Musk wasn't elected. They don't care because Donald Trump gave him the seal of approval. And that's all it takes in MAGA's world. All they need is for Donald Trump to tell them something's okay, and then they'll go right with it. You got to think about everything they preached about going into this election. They always warned us of oligarchs. They always warned us of billionaires. They always tried to accuse Democrats, oh, George Soros props them up. Can you imagine if George Soros had been in the Oval Office with one of his grandkids on his shoulders talking next to Joe Biden, how Howard MAGA's heads would have absolutely exploded? But they roll right with it. And so as we go forward, it's going to be harder and harder to combat this misinformation because they feel more empowered than ever before. They got Elon Musk with his platform X, and he throws it out there to the world and puts it out there. And then you have all the bro podcasts like Joe Rogan who will validate it and push it out there even farther. And it's going to be really hard at this point. I don't know if we'll ever be able to put the toothpaste back in the tube because they just keep coming up with these ridiculous stories, throwing them out there and saying, Elon's getting to the corruption. And that's all people are hearing. So now people are hearing him say that tens of millions of dead people are drawing Social Security benefits, and that's already been debunked. I'm going to read to you a little bit here from Wired.com. I can't pull it up on the screen because I'm having internet issues at the moment, but I'll just read along with you. So, but I want to point this out. So Elon Musk has repeatedly claimed that his so-called Doge project has uncovered massive government fraud when it alleged that 150-year-olds were claiming Social Security benefits. But Musk has provided no evidence to back up his claims, and experts quickly pointed out that this is very likely just a quirk of the decades-old coding language that underpins the government payment systems. But here's the thing, folks. All Elon has to do is put one little screenshot out there of some numbers and say, look what I found, and MAGA will lap it up and believe it because they've been duped into believing that this dude is some sort of genius, that he's some sort of inventor and done all these miraculous things when actually that's not the case at all. But they completely believe this stuff, so he doesn't have to provide any more evidence other than just a little screenshot and point and just say interesting, or he always, when he makes these tweets, he'll just put a word like wow or interesting, just one word and a little picture, and people laps it up. But it says here that Musk first made these claims during an Oval Office press conference last week when he claimed that a cursory of examination of Social Security, and we got people in there that are 150 years old now. He said, now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't know. They should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. So that's a case I think they're probably dead. But goes on here to say, while no evidence was produced to back up his claim, it was picked up by right-wing commentators online, primarily on Musk's own X platform, of course, as well as being reported credibly by pro-Trump media outlets. Computer programmers quickly claimed that the 150 figure was not evidence of fraud, but rather the result of a weird quirk of the Social Security Administration's benefit system, which largely written by the COBOL, a 60-year-old programming language that undergirds the SSA's databases as well as systems for many other U.S. government agencies. So the systems default to the reference point when a birth date is missing or incomplete, meaning all of those entries in 2025 would show an age of 150. That's just one possible explanation for what Doge has allegedly found. Musk could have simply looked up the SSA's own website, which explains that since September of 2015, the agency has automatically stopped benefit payments when anyone reaches the age of 115. However, on Monday morning, Musk doubled down, posting a screenshot of what he claims were figures from the Social Security database to X, writing the numbers of people in each age bracket with a death field set to false. The figure suggests that tens of millions of people are collecting benefits. And right here he posted, maybe Twilight is real. There are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. But the database Musk took screenshots from listed almost 400 million people, which is more than 5 times the number of people receiving benefits in 2024, according to the SSA's own website. It's also significantly more than the entire U.S. population. The fact that the security system contains millions of entries from people who are dead is likely distinct from a potential caused error and also not news. A report in 2023 found that 98% of those aged 100 or older in the Social Security databases are not recipients of any benefits. The report added that the database would not be updated because it would cost too much money to do so. But see, here's another classic case of this guy pumping this out into the world, and they will absolutely latch onto it and believe it and run with it. And then how do we sit back and combat it? Because I guarantee you that if there was any trolls watching this video, the minute I said I'm going to read to you here from Wired, immediately I'm sure they was yelling fake news at the screen as I was saying that. And when you have the world's richest man controlling the president, pulling the strings on all that, and he has his platform and he has his megaphone, I just feel like that as we go forward, it's going to be harder and harder to combat the misinformation and the lies that are going to be spread out there. We didn't vote for Elon Musk. None of us did. Even Trump supporters truly didn't. But they've been duped, and it's going to take them, I really believe it's going to take them feeling the pain of this. I don't think us saying anything is ever going to change their minds. I don't think it's going to make them go, wait a minute, hold on, maybe we should have looked into this a little bit for ourselves. I think it's going to have to come right back and hurt them. They're going to have to lose their jobs. They're going to have to lose their benefits. They're going to have to lose their safety nets. They're going to have to struggle even harder. And even then, there's probably going to be a post that Elon will be putting on X and Joe Rogan will be pumping out into the world to find a way to blame that on Democrats. So we got our work cut out for us. We're going to have to continue to get louder, and we're going to have to continue to stand stronger and not back down, because we're up against something now that's greater than anything we've ever been up against. And that's why I said at the start of the video that this last election, I truly feel was unlike any other, and the stakes were higher than ever before. And when I would try to say to people, hey, if you've got a disagreement with Kamala Harris over this one issue, there's a much broader picture you need to be taking a look at. I can't count the number of people on the left that I would say, hey, I know you're upset about a lot of different things, but you're going to be even more upset if Trump gets back in power. And now they're even more upset and already regretting staying home on election day or writing in a third party, which to me has just always been the most ridiculous statement, is when someone says, I'm going to vote my conscience and then stays home. That's never made any sense to me. But we're in for the long haul, folks. We really are. There's going to be so much put out into the world. It's going to be an information overload. And I really do believe that is just to get us to comply. It's to get us to give up, to lay down, to roll over and go home. And we can't do that because American democracy is too important. We may have lost this go around. It may look like we've got a long road ahead of us to getting back to where we need to be, but we won't get there if we stay home. We will not get there if we completely tap out. We have special elections coming up in Florida on April the 1st. Democrats have a chance to tie the House again. And I know there's a lot of people saying, yeah, but Brando, those are very red districts. There's no reason to get involved in those. Those are very red districts. We don't have a shot in hell. What I would say is these special elections always have low voter turnout. They always do. So it would be in our best interest to get behind this as hard as we can and say to people, get out there in Florida and vote and make this happen, because a lot of people in MAGA are going to rest on their laurels and feel complacent. And we can be saying, hey, go out there and support these candidates and at least tie up the House. And maybe then we can at least stop some things from going through. Maybe we can stop some of this madness. And I know there's a lot of people that says, yeah, but Trump's just ruling like a dictator, man. He's not going to care. He's just going to brush over anybody that tries to stand up against him. And I totally feel that, and I totally understand that. But to do nothing, I don't see that being the option. So we gotta keep pushing forward, and we gotta keep working, and we gotta be willing to stand up to it, because the stakes are higher now than ever. And if we're ever going to get any of this toothpaste back in the tube, we're just going to have to keep putting in the work.